San Francisco, the Golden Gate City. For generations, this 49-square-mile peninsula was the jewel of the American West. It was the birthplace of the counterculture, the center of the gay rights movement, and the engine of the tech revolution that changed the world. It is a place of staggering beauty, where the fog rolls over the hills and the Victorian houses paint the streets in pastel colors. But in 2025, the paint is peeling. The fog is lifting to reveal a city that is at war with itself. If you stand at the corner of Turk and Taylor in the Tenderloin district, you are not seeing the San Francisco of the postcards. You are seeing a humanitarian catastrophe that rivals the slums of the developing world. But unlike the slums of the developing world, this misery is happening in the shadow of the greatest concentration of wealth in human history. We are witnessing the collision of the future and the failed state. We are watching self-driving robotaxis navigate around bodies frozen in fentanyl overdoses. We are watching billionaires walk past people screaming in psychosis. Welcome to San Francisco Homeless Crisis 2025, a city consumed by despair and addiction. Today, we are going to investigate the doom loop. We are going to walk the streets that the travel guides tell you to avoid. We are going to ask the uncomfortable question: how can a city with a budget of $14 billion fail so spectacularly to care for its most vulnerable citizens? To understand the San Francisco crisis, you have to understand the geography of containment. This is a small city. You cannot hide the poverty here. It spills out everywhere, but the epicenter is the Tenderloin. For decades, the Tenderloin has been a gritty neighborhood, but in 2025, it has transformed into an open-air asylum. The sidewalks are no longer for walking, they are for living, selling, and dying. Walking down Eddy Street is an assault on the senses. The smell of urine and burnt foil is omnipresent. The sound is a cacophony of boomboxes, arguments, and the sirens of first responders who are perpetually overwhelmed. The visual landscape is a sea of tents, stolen bicycles, and human suffering. But what defines the San Francisco crisis in 2025 is the sheer visibility of the drug trade. It is not hidden in alleys. It is transactional, corporate, and blatant. The drug markets here are run with the efficiency of the tech startups just a few blocks away. Fentanyl is the primary commodity, often colored like candy, rainbow fentanyl, to market to a younger demographic. But recently, the market has shifted to methamphetamine to combat the sedative effects of the opioids. This creates a terrifying dynamic on the street. You have the fentanyl folders, people bent at the waist, unconscious, mixed with the meth screamers, people in states of aggressive, violent psychosis. It is a volatile cocktail that makes the streets feel unsafe for everyone, including the users themselves. We spoke to residents who have lived in the Tenderloin for 30 years. They tell us that the social contract has been broken. The police, handcuffed by policy and politics, often stand by and watch the dealing happen. They arrest a dealer at 10 a.m., and he is back on the corner by 2 p.m. It is a revolving door of futility. But the crisis has broken containment. It has spilled into downtown, creating what economists call the doom loop. San Francisco's downtown, once the bustling heart of the tech economy, is hollowed out. The remote work revolution emptied the office towers, but the homeless crisis kept the workers from coming back. Major retailers, Nordstrom, Whole Foods, Walgreens, have fled the city, citing rampant theft and safety concerns regarding their staff. Union Square, the premier shopping district, is now a fortress. The stores that remain have armed guards and boarded-up windows. When the commerce leaves, the tax base leaves. When the tax base leaves, the budget for social services shrinks, and the cycle spirals downward. In 2025, Market Street, the main artery of the city, is a ghost town of "for lease" signs and wandering souls. It is a monument to a city that prioritized ideology over reality. And that brings us to the policy paradox. San Francisco is famous for its compassionate approach. For years, the city championed harm reduction. The idea was to meet addicts where they are, providing clean needles, foil, and safe consumption sites to prevent disease and overdose. But critics argue that in San Francisco, harm reduction became harm production. By providing the tools for drug use without mandating treatment, The city made it incredibly easy to stay addicted. We found piles of city-funded clean needles discarded in the gutters. Washing into the bay, we found that the safe sites often became magnets for dealers, creating concentrated zones of chaos. The debate here is fierce. One side argues that forcing people into treatment is a violation of civil rights. The other side argues that leaving a mentally ill person to slowly commit suicide on a sidewalk is the ultimate violation of human rights. San Francisco is paralyzed by this debate. While the politicians argue in City Hall, the bodies pile up in the morgue. But we must talk about the wealth. You cannot tell the story of San Francisco without talking about the money. This city has the highest density of billionaires in the world. You have young tech workers making $300,000 a year living in high-rise apartments that overlook the encampments. The inequality is Dickensian. We see the tech shuttles, the private buses that take workers to Silicon Valley, gliding past lines of people waiting for a soup kitchen. We see delivery robots bringing $20 salads to condos, rolling past people eating out of garbage cans. This proximity breeds a unique kind of resentment. The working class of San Francisco, the teachers, the artists, the cooks, has been completely priced out. If you lose your apartment in San Francisco, you don't move to a cheaper neighborhood. There are no cheaper neighborhoods. You move to the street. The homeless in San Francisco are not just addicts. They are the elderly whose rent control ran out. They are the students living in their cars. They are the casualties of a housing market that has been weaponized by NIMBYISM. Not in my backyard. Residents fight every new shelter, every new affordable housing complex, claiming it will ruin the character of the neighborhood. Meanwhile, the character of the neighborhood is being defined by human feces on the sidewalk. In 2025, the patience of the city has snapped. We are seeing a shift. The residents, famously liberal, are recalling politicians. They are demanding arrests. They are demanding sweeps. The compassion fatigue has set in. When you can't walk your child to school without stepping over needles, your political priorities change. But sweeps are just optics. Moving a tent from one block to another doesn't solve the addiction. It doesn't build a house. It just shuffles the misery. We visited the Mission District, the cultural heart of the Latino community. Here, the crisis is morphing into a public safety emergency. The fires. In 2025, encampment fires are a nightly occurrence. Propane tanks explode. Tents go up in flames, threatening the historic wooden houses that line the streets. The fire department is running ragged, fighting a war on two fronts: overdoses and infernos. So, is San Francisco dying? That is the question everyone asks. The national media loves to write the obituary of this city. They call it a failed state. But San Francisco has died before. It died in the earthquake of 1906. It died in the AIDS crisis of the 80s. It died in the dot-com bust. It always comes back. However, this time feels different. The rot is deep. It is structural. The solution requires more than just money. San Francisco spends more per homeless person than almost any city on earth. The solution requires a fundamental change in philosophy. It requires admitting that allowing open-air drug markets is not compassion. It requires building mental health hospitals, not just wellness centers. It requires breaking the stranglehold of the real estate lobby. As the sun sets behind the Golden Gate Bridge, the city lights up. It is still breathtakingly beautiful from a distance. The Transamerica Pyramid glows. The base shimmers. But down here, on the pavement of the Tenderloin, it is dark. The only light comes from the flicker of lighters and the flashing red of the ambulance. This is a tale of two cities. One is designing the future of artificial intelligence. The other is struggling to survive the night. San Francisco is a warning to the world. It shows us that innovation without humanity is hollow. It shows us that you can have all the wealth in the universe, but if you lose your soul, you have nothing. We need to look at this uncomfortable truth. We need to stop romanticizing the decline and start demanding the restoration of dignity, for the housed and the unhoused alike. Thank you for watching this investigation into the crisis by the Bay. If you believe that we need to save our great cities from this collapse, please like this video. It helps us break through the noise. And please, subscribe to America's Uncomfortable Truth. We will continue to take you to the front lines of the American crisis. Leave a comment below. Do you think San Francisco can be saved? Or is it too late? Stay safe, look out for your community, and never stop demanding the truth.